Hey guys, so this is What If Deku Wasn't Young Justice Part 3. Now, basically, last time, I think I uploaded this a month ago or a couple weeks ago. But basically, let's get into the what if. I'm not really gonna do, 5 or 2 minute intro like I normally do. So let's just dive right into the video. Before I get started, though, basically last time I said Deku was gonna be out for the next couple of episodes since the Amazo episode schooled. He used most of all his power to literally go toe on toe with Amazo against Superman's full strength, meaning that basically he technically beat the equivalent of somebody with the powers of Superman. Basically, what we're doing after that, pretty much Deku will be out for the next couple episodes. But let's dive right into the video because the butterfly effect, with Connor having his superpowers or his newfound, quirk gene that was modified to his DNA because All Might exists in this universe, that would change him as well. Now basically, as we get switched to episode 6, pretty much Invader. I think, yeah, Invader? I don't remember the episode name. But basically, pretty much let's get into the episode. Now basically, we start our story off with Speedy, or where he goes by Red Arrow now, infiltrating the League of Shadows or Infinity Island, basically saving a scientist, and basically getting her out there pretty quick and not really too much damage. Or not really too much damage to her or to really any of them. Just, kind of a bumpy, get out plan or kind of a bumpy getaway. Now basically what would happen after that, as we get switched back to pretty much Mount Justice, as we see everybody just do their beach day, with Wally still being at, the high school as his freshman year. After that, we would get switched to pretty much Connor and Robin going to, the area to pretty much see what's going on and track down the nanobots the scientists made. And if you haven't seen episode 6, don't really know why you're watching this what if, but basically, pretty much we don't know the scientist or the doctor made pretty much nanotech that is cutting edge technology, but the League of Shadows are using it as a weapon to steal data and cutting edge technology, information, and a bunch of other stuff. Basically, them having to go after League of Shadows and stop them. There's a little bit of a rundown. Mainly this episode goes down. Mainly a little bit of a rundown. This episode goes down. Now, basically, let's get into the video. More into the video. As we skip past the rest of the whole story because Connor is not there and Deku is not there, meaning that the story hasn't changed not much. Now, basically, as we get switched to Connor and Robin's whole entire situation, we said pretty much, Connor and Robin get to, Star Lab, seeing that it was already destroyed by the nanotech. As they follow the nanotech, as we get switched back to the rest of the team after they fight against the assassins and a bunch of other stuff, as we get switched back to pretty much Connor and Robin, as we see them get to Wayne Tower, or Wayne Tech, basically them trying to stop the nanobots. As we see Connor basically see the League of Shadows and their van basically starting to try to infiltrate or take the data from Wayne Tech. Basically, Wayne Tech has the passwords and some of the information of the Batcave in it. So they got their hands on that. They could find the Batcave and infiltrate Batman's lair. Meaning that Batman's secret will be out, and a lot of people that he loves or people that have been close to Bruce Wayne might die. But basically, pretty much what happened during this time, we see pretty much, Deku would have been in the hospital at this point. Him still being in bed rest, but he would have woke up seeing this on the news. As he would see Connor basically run alongside Robin into pretty much Wayne Tech. As he would be running, Robin would have used the pretty much over the sound barrier, or the sound code, basically breaking the gates before they can lock Robin out, since the security guard there would have thought Robin was some sort of thug or something trying to get into Wayne Tech or Wayne Tower. Basically what happened is, doing this, we would see Connor would have been left behind since the gate would have gone right back down, but he would have seen that pretty much the person that was controlling the nanotech on the outside was about to get away. Him just waiting for the tech to be done with why it was sent here. Him going right outside the building, him jumping on top of the building, and him not using his, was metagene to supercharge his Kryptonian genes, just the guy, running towards the van as fast as he possibly can. As he would run towards the van, the guy with the laser helmet would have started to blast onto pretty much Connor, pushing him back. As Connor would have tried to fight back, Connor would have been slightly overpowered. But eventually, Connor would just, power through it, running right towards him, speed blitzing right past the laser guy, grabbing him by the back, and literally ripping the helmet thing right off his head and cracking him in the back of the head, basically knocking him out cold. After that, we'll see that pretty much the League of Shadows would have been, or this operation of the League of Shadows would have been thwarted. And as we get switched on the other half of the story, as we see Artemis come across her, sister. Basically, I think Dreamcat? Stretcher. Stretcher. I don't remember her name. But basically, we see that pretty much Artemis comes across her, and we see that little bit of a drama kick in as we get switched to pretty much Stretcher. I forgot how to pronounce her name, like for real. Stretcher, as we see her just disappear and get out of there before Artemis can stop her. After this, we will see that Artemis would have been down on the team a little bit by Wally, but still the team would have slightly accepted her, mainly Aqualad, since he was being more of the calm-headed person of the team. After that, we get switched to pretty much Deku in the hospital bed, as we will see Deku basically powering through his pain as he would be walking through the hospital, as he would see something in the dark. Him turning off the censored lights in the hallway, him turning on the censored light in the hallway by waving his hand, and him seeing nothing there. As the lights would go back down, as he would look behind himself, and he would see one of the members of the League of Shadows try to grab him. As Deku would dodge this, he would have broke out of his cast on his left arm and would have punched the League of Shadow villain or a League of Shadow member upside the head, knocking him into another room where a patient just left or just got decharged, and basically it would break the hospital bed, kicking the guy or punching the guy through the wall that entered the room and through the wall that, where the window was, making the guy fall out the building and crack his neck on the other second floor. And basically, after that, Deku would have passed out from pain and also over exhaustion, so he would have used his powers, basically breaking through his cast because it was only a couple more days that he needed to heal. But, he passed out, and the doctors showed up a couple hours later, helping him up. After this, we would get switched to pretty much, episode 7, Denial. Basically, as we will see, pretty much, the current user, or the current bearer of Dr. Fate's helmet, basically going to a fake type of, psychic. As he would still do the same thing still do the same thing that he did original, him basically doing everything like he did before, as he would pretty much, still be kidnapped and be tortured, as we will see right back at Mount Justice. Red Tornado would have given them a mission to figure out what was going on. Since Connor would have been there, that's why I'm narrating this part. Now basically, after that, we would see that they would have been talking about Connor, and after this, we would see that Connor would have basically started to get ready, as he would get in his hero costume. I will change his hair costume just for, purpose sake, since he would get a better hero costume. And basically what happened doing this, Connor would have started to pretty much, get a little bit more frustrated with this whole entire magic thing. After pretty much the fact that Wally would have blurred his mouth off, basically him saying something about how he's a true believer, lying to the magic hologram, and basically them being sent down lava. That's kind of what it still, burned his feet, as he would be thinking about using his other power to supercharge his Kryptonian genes to make him stronger so he can fly. As he would try to think about it, saying that they might get through a lot more trouble, so he's just gonna, wait and pretty much, wait and save it. And basically, as they, tell the truth And as they say, the real reason why they're there, as they do that, we see that pretty much they all get ready to go. As we see pretty much, well, Wally and Artemis would have still been swept away by pretty much the wizard, basically, as they would have all been separated after the fact that they would have gone through a magical portal after pretty much, well, Wally would have, gone after the whole entire thing about, why doesn't believe magic and blah, 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 stuff like that. Basically, after that, we would see that pretty much, well, Connor would have been kind of frustrated with Wally a little bit, but just, shrugging that off. As Connor would have been a little bit more bold trying to grab the stick or grab the cane, but Wally would have been a lot more faster and grabbed the cane before him. Artemis and Wally still being sent to Dr. Fate. After that, we will see that pretty much the rest of the episode goes from the same, because most of the episode is all about Wally and mainly Artemis going up against or helping Dr. Fate escape the, pretty much. It's mainly about Wally, actually. It's mainly about Wally and his, inner conflict about how he doesn't, how he doesn't accept magic for being real, and he doesn't, accept it at all. He doesn't really want to accept the fact that magic is real because he doesn't think it is. Basically, mainly is about Wally, but the story of his what if isn't about Wally one bit. Now, basically, after we get switched after Wally and Artemis's interlogue or dialogue, basically after Wally takes the, helmet, as we see Connor basically fighting against the magic from pretty much, well, the other user that was fighting or helping Kid Chaos, as he would try to pretty much try to use his Kryptonian powers, as you see them, it was magic, so it kind of just, he kind of just used a useless and pointless part of his power, basically using it up for the day, because, well, bit simple, it didn't really do much of anything, since he was being tortured or being electrified by magic, and Kryptonians are vulnerable to magic. It would make him basically useless against it. After that, as we would see Kid Chaos go up against Wally, as Wally would have taken the helmet and basically would have fought against Kid Chaos. After that, we would see that he would win against Kid Chaos, and pretty much after that, we see the episode ends with Wally taking the helmet as a trophy, as we get switched to episode 8. Now, episode 8 is pretty simple, pretty front forward. Now, episode 8 is barely about much of anything. It's mainly about, well, Aqualad and most of his story and him feeling homesick away from, well, pretty much what happened. Connor is in there, but it's not really about strength or fight. It's mainly about, his, well, everything that would happen between him and Artemis. Or, not, was it him and Megan. After this, we would be skipped to episode 9. But for episode 9, mainly, that changes not so much. Since Connor doesn't have the knowledge that he has before, as he doesn't have the knowledge of, his powers and his, other powers that amplify his Kryptonian genes, he wouldn't be using them, being that he would just be using his base half Kryptonian strength, meaning that the story wouldn't change most at all, and episode 9 would have happened in the same, well, manner. Now in episode 10, that's when Daku would have gotten off his high horse or would have gotten out of the hospital and discharged. As we switch to episode 10. As we get switched to episode 10, we get switched to pretty much Speedy trying to save, well, one of the Congress, or I think one of the people the president is associated with. As this is happening, pretty much this is mainly about Speedy's relationship and Speedy's, whole entire solo gig, but it's mainly about how he would first meet Session. And basically, him going up against her and trying to stop her, but would have failed horribly. And basically, what happened after that, we see that pretty much that episode would have, that part of the episode would have been glazed by pretty quickly. Basically, us just switching right to the point where Connor would be in the story. Now, basically, Connor's barely in the story, though, but he does go to visit Deku in the hospital. Doing this right when, Connor's fixing up his bike, he tells him that he's about to go out to meet with Deku or meet with Izuku to pretty much check up on him and stuff like that. Basically, him wanting to go, but being told that you guys gotta go to school. So pretty much Connor can't go, but he does ask somebody to check up on Deku. And then basically after that, we see that Connor and Megan go to their first day of school, or first day of high school. And basically, what happened is Martian Manhunter would have told them that he would go to pretty much meet up or, check on Deku as, you guys go to high school and stuff like that. After that, we would see that pretty much we would get switched to Deku in the hospital right before Stretchers and pretty much Speedy's whole entire thing. Now, basically, what happened is doing this, Martian Manhunter would have visited Deku in the hospital. Basically, him going in there as he would see Deku's condition would have slightly worsened on his arm. And basically, him asking what happened, as he would hear about the whole entire thing and the whole entire situation. But him slowly and surely being interrupted when All Might walks into the room. As All Might walks into the room, he basically looks around and asks Deku if he's okay. Him learning about the whole entire situation with one of the League of Shadow members pretty much sneaking into the hospital and supposedly trying to kill you. As Deku would be kind of confused, as he would say that, I don't know why they're after me. Maybe because they may know I'm in the team. But basically, All Might saying that's impossible. None of them know your identity, but Deku would have said that he did keep his mask down once or twice during a mission. And basically, what happened is All Might would have said, you can't do that. You can risk it all. But basically, Deku would have said, I'm sorry. That pretty much All Might would have acted like a kind of a, I guess, concerned dad, per se. But basically, what happened is pretty much All Might would have told Martian Manhunter to just go and for him to talk to pretty much, Deku himself, and as he wants to tell him something important. As pretty much Martian Manhunter says, okay, basically him walking out of the room. As we would see, pretty much All Might grab a chair, him trying to say something, but him basically saying, never mind. I hope you do good. I hope you get better. You're only here for the next couple of days. Your arm is healing very quickly with your accelerated healing and your powers. You'll be out of this chair or out of this bed in no time. I'll see you later. Basically, I'm saying to get well soon. All Might feeling very nervous and not sure what to tell Deku. But pretty much what happened is Deku would have been kind of confused on what's happening. Him knowing All Might is hiding something from him, but we would not learn about that later on, or we're not learning about that for a very long time in the What If, until maybe part 5 or 6. And basically, as we get switched to pretty much the end of the episode, as the end of the episode plays out exactly the same, as we see pretty much Connor go to school, the same thing happens, and after that, we see that Connor does see All Might, does see, the nerd kid that had the, skateboard and also the helmet that ran into Connor, basically had a All Might shirt instead of the shirt he had in original. Basically, as he would pretty much, as Deku would have been in the hospital, us switching right back to the hospital, as we would see Deku walking through the hallways of the hospital that night when Speedy's, doing his whole entire thing against Sportsmaster and Cheshire, and basically him going up against them. As he would have faked his own type of demise, him tricking Sportsmaster into thinking he was dead because he ran into the water right before the bomb blow, and basically him running off. Now, as we get switched that night, we'll see that Robin would have been in Gotham. Him getting a call from Deku, since Robin and Deku would have shared some calls because they would have known each other before the team would have happened. Since they would be, sidekicks, Wally, Robin, and Deku would have been sidekicks of the top three some of the most famous heroes in America or around the world. All Might, Flash, and Superman. Basically, All Might, Flash, and Robin. All Might, Flash, and Batman. Sorry. All Might, Flash, and Batman. Superman's one of the up. Then basically, as we get switched after that, we'll see it pretty much, Deku would have been in pretty much, what was it? Would have been in the bathroom, him figuring out what's happening to him since he feels weird, like he's getting something or something, like he's gaining something. As Deku would try to, try to figure out what's going on, as his hands would start to freak out or pretty much spaz out, his arm, the cast on his arm breaking, and his arm healing instantly, like he had black veins going up against his body, and black ropes conjuring out of his hands like they were happening. It was just happening as they started to destroy and cut through everything in the bathroom or the restroom. Basically, him rushing out of there and being very confused on what's happening. As he would start to scratch all the curtains, walls, and buildings, or pretty much tables in there, as he would go crazy, as his hands would start to freak out. Doing this, we would see that pretty much Deku would try to calm down. Him calming down would have helped and would have had the same effect that most powers in, continuity would have happened. Basically making sure that, that he was, calmed down. He was done. And basically, after Ome would have walked into the room as he would visit Deku one more time, as he would be very confused on what was happening. As he would be shown to be Martian Manhunter instead of All Might. Basically, Martian Manhunter saying that All Might needed to visit you in his hero form for, public events. Basically, him saying that pretty much what's going on, as Deku would be confused on what's going on himself. Now, this would be Black Whip manifesting itself in a more dangerous way on Deku's body. Now, basically, eventually Deku will learn how to use his power a lot more efficiently, but for now, I'm going to end off the series, or I'm not going to end off the series, I'm going to end off the episode right here. Now, pretty much, part 4, a little bit more planned out since most of this was all unscripted, and I stuttered a few, or a lot, actually, but basically, pretty much, what's going to happen is, this is when pretty much we will see Deku start to manifest a lot more powers, him manifesting a lot more powers in this continuity, him having a lot more powers since, pretty much, carriers of this meta power would have been a lot more versatile, a lot more, I guess, shaped out since pretty much, pretty simple. A lot more people with metahuman abilities would have had the metahuman, pretty much, power and stuff like that, and a bunch of other stuff. Now, basically, I'm gonna end off the video here. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. See you guys later. And as always, guys, stay safe out there.